why do y'all choose a PWI, like Penn State? Is there a reason, you know what I mean? Like, or, you know, so why did y'all choose Penn State?
Dawn told me it was popping.
Yo, we were having fun, man. That freshman year, dude. Like, I was having fun. It was lit.
Yo, nigga, if you want to party, come up here. We party every night.
Yeah.
Come to find out, we were having actually more fun after I got there. Not because of me, of course, but I'm saying, like, was that 05? We had 10 times more fun in 05 than I had in 04 when I came to visit him.
It wasn't even like for me, that's when my parents went. So I just knew I wanted to go to college. I never really, I know I grew up in a pretty, with a pretty militant father and a socially conscious mom. So like the way I grew up was a lot of book reports and stuff about, you know, the ADOS or Black experience in America. And you got to read the books, do a book report. So I knew of them, but, you know, it comes down really to marketing and branding sometime. And I think, you know, at that age, like I wasn't an 18-year-old guy coming out of high school, you know? So it was like, okay, I'm from Pennsylvania, Penn State, like Steve said, name recognition, brand recognition. And so I never really considered a HBCU. And then by the time I interacted with those graduates or the people who were going, you know, for advanced degrees in HBCUs, when I was looking to get my master's degree, kind of turned me off. Like, it's like a sense of elitism. You know, they'll put it on the people that went to PWIs, but the elitism that comes out of HBCUs, like you'll have, you know, someone that doesn't know, you know, the start or end of Black history in America think they can educate you on that because they went to an HBCU. And it's like, that's not the case. Like, don't think I don't know anything about my ancestry because I didn't go to a HBCU. Like, that's the cog that keeps us all together. And, you know, it's always kind of ridiculous to me because a lot of HBCUs were started by white people. And so, like, you espouse this history and you don't even know the history of your institution.
See, for me, I really never even really thought about HBCUs. And that's because, like I said earlier, I was kind of just on this path, this education path of like just find a school, learn from, you know what I mean? Even like starting from high school, because, you know, in Philly, you got to choose your high school, you got to choose. And after that, you know, I chose Penn State. But one thing I would say is I wish I did at least get some type of experience at an HBCU. That's one thing I wish, and mainly for the experience of being at a Black school.
You never made a trip to Morgan?
Or Cheney or Lincoln.
I mean, yes, yeah. I mean, we had our fun going there, but I feel like it would be different if I actually went to school there. You know what I mean? Being in class in HBCU, you know, just because we got all the party aspect of it. I kind of wish I had everything else outside of the party aspect. You know what I mean? Just to be honest, it's really selfish. It's never really not selfish, but it's really just because I just wish I had that experience. Just because it's nothing really. I don't think it would affect my career much, but it's just one of those things. Like after graduating Penn State, I was just like, man, I wish I had that experience. You know. But
yeah, I don't. For me, oh my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off, Joe.
No,
you know, for me, it was. I actually applied to a couple different HBCUs. I applied to Xavier in Louisiana. I applied to North Carolina A&T, and got accepted into both. And like Xavier was offering me damn near a full ride. North Carolina A&T was offering, you know, like 70% of my tuition or something like that, 75%, something like that. So the opportunity was there, but I was actually heavy influenced by, like I said, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So when I was transitioning from high school, you know, to college, I was heavily influenced by my mom. And she went to a PWI. She went to University of Maryland College Park. And she was the one who, out of all the schools that, you know, I had applied to, not only was Penn State, you know, the closest one to home, but Penn State was also, you know, the most, you know, prestigious, you know, school that I got accepted into. So, you know, I went for it. So the opportunity was there to go to HBCUs, but I mean, honestly, and I really don't want to get too deep into this right now, but we've talked about this on several times. Like, there's no like set path to success, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like, because I went to a PWI, right, or because I went to, HBCU, I know everything about Black history, to G's point, like it really does not matter. So I'll circle back around to that, because I know, that'll probably be a different topic. I won't get too deep into it just yet, but the opportunity was there. To go to HBCUs.
Yeah, I enjoyed going to an HBCU. Unlike Don, which is pretty cool. I guess every experience, is for every individual. But my parents, they didn't go to a 4-year university, so they were just happy for me to go to school, right? To any university. Yeah. But the private school I went to, the private high school I went to, I honestly thought you had to go to college. That's how ignorant I was about college. I honestly thought after high school, I didn't know you had a choice to go work, because they pushed college in our face so much. You dig what I'm saying? It's like, you got to go to college. We actually had a college prep class. We had an SAT class that you had to take. You know what I mean? So I thought that was mandatory. But the reason why I chose an HBCU first is because, like I said before, my high school, I wanted to get away from white dudes. So, I was like, I'm going to an all Black, I don't care which one, I'm going to an all Black co-ed college. And that's what I did. And I think everyone should at least experience it. Like what Joe said, he wasn't able to experience it. There's a culture there. I don't agree with everything that they have to offer. I'm not saying all HBCUs. I'm talking about Virginia Union, which I think is a great school. But there's something there. It's hard to describe. You're not going to experience that at Ohio State, at a Penn State, at University of America. You're just not. Just the women there, the Greek organizations there, just the pep rallies, the homecoming. You're just not going to experience it. So one thing I do kind of regret is leaving too early. I think I should have stayed another year. But I think if I would have stayed, I probably wouldn't be here talking to y'all. Because I was close with the Kappas. I was close with the Alpha. I wouldn't have joined that, but I was close with no, I really would. But I was close with the Kappas, and ironically, I met G. You know this, G. I met you my freshman year of college at Kinston Million. And then you told me your vision and stuff like that. And I was like, damn, it's weird, because it's like, this is God or the universe telling me you should go. You know what I mean? Because you still had the opportunity. Because at the time, we didn't have Greek organizations at Penn State Harrisburg.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I really wanted to become a part of the Kappas there, but I was like, yo, I'd rather, of course, because we thought that Penn State was, what they say with the white ice is colder, right? Type of mentality. I thought Penn State was a better university than Virginia Union, so I was willing to leave that opportunity to join a Kappa at Virginia Union to go to Penn State, even though they didn't have Kappas, because I was looking about my future. But when you said y'all were thinking about bringing that organization to Penn State, I said, oh, it's a no-brainer. And my oldest brother thought I was a fool, because I had a full ride at Virginia Union. I had I think it was United Negro College Fund scholarship at Virginia Union. They were actually paying me after everything was said and done. I actually had money left over. So I got money back in my pocket. Then it was called the refund, John. You know what I mean? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Where you get the refund or whatever. So they were actually paying me to go to school, and he thought I was crazy for transferring. So I called United Negro College Fund, like, yo, can I transfer the scholarship to Penn State? He was like, oh.
Nah, nigga.
He was like, oh. But, I mean, he did give me some good advice. He was like, but I wouldn't let that deter you from transferring to that university, because it's only, available at an HBCU. So I went there. Was it a better university? I think it was a better support, even though it was a smaller campus at the time we were going. Since then, it has expanded, but it was much better support than Virginia Union. I remember the academic advisor at the university. I don't remember her name, and thank God I don't, because I would put her on blast. But I told her I wanted to transfer. I had a 3.7 too. That's crazy at Virginia Union. And I told her I wanted to transfer. She said, you would never make it at a university like that. That's so crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
A lot of hate.
I like, where? All right. But
I'm
put in my
going.
transfer papers, I'm still going.
Did you put sugar in her gas tank?
No, it was crazy though. And that's the power of, and our original conversation, Steve, you said, as far as like how kids and adults, the distractions. Like as I was a kid, I started Virginia Union when I was 17 because of my birthday, right? And I didn't know the power of you can't do something at that time. I just said, oh, okay, well, she's mad about something. Maybe, when a boyfriend left her or whatever, but I'm still going to do what I got to do. I didn't really register that she told me I couldn't do something. But as adults, we register. If someone says, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're like, oh, maybe I can't. Maybe I'm too old, or maybe because I have kids, or maybe I live in, whatever. But when you're younger, you like, you gung ho about everything. But so when she told me that, I'm like, all right, whatever. So I still transferred, and that's history. I got in, thank God. We started with Fall 05 and met y'all cats. I met Steve and Joe Fall 05. I met Jabron and Spring 05 and Don. I've known this cat since 2000. So the rest is history. But long story short, I chose Penn State. One, influenced Don. He said that shit was popping, and I wanted the party. Again, I was 17, 18. And two, you thought, okay, if I have the badge of Penn State on my chest, I can go anywhere. That's not the case. But
right.
That's the mindset I had at the time. It doesn't matter what university you go to. If you have it within you, if you have that fighting mentality, I don't care if you go to a community college or no college at all, you're going to still make it. PWI doesn't make or break you.
And that's what they don't tell you, when you're young. Going back to your first point, Joe, is that like we thought college, like that's what you had to do, right? Like not knowing that, okay, college is, extremely competitive, but there's such a huge emphasis on, blue collar, employees as well. Like there's plenty of opportunities. It's all in the person. That's all I'm saying, right? Like it's just because you went to college and have a degree doesn't mean that, you're going to be successful.
Right.
The highest paying jobs that I've had, I never even used my degree. Like that's not what got me the job.
That's not what they, like you say, that's not what they taught us. Like I honestly believed in my heart that if I went to college, I was guaranteed to make at least, what's the goal, the 6 figures coming out of school.
Yeah.
Like I really believed that. I felt, and I think I have common sense. I'm not easily like deceived, but they got me because I was upset.
Well, Jojo, I think that falls back to like so me going to a PWI, like I told you guys in the beginning, right? A PWI wasn't necessarily my first choice, but I think that there are a lot of outside factors that play on the decisions that we make, right? And how we end up in a PWI. Because I think a few of you had said that a PWI isn't better or worse than an HBCU, but somehow, some way you end up there, right? When you're the HBCU, unlike Joe, like in my heyday, I guess, when I say I would leave school on Thursday and I would visit other people, like I was going to people's classes too. So I went to SUNY Albany for a couple of days. I went to class in SUNY Albany for a couple of days. I went to class in Shippensburg, and I went to class in Cheney too. Like I was out there. Like people thought I was going to all these different schools. Ain't have no idea where the hell I was going. Right? And I think that when we take a step back and we look at the bigger picture, right? It's about money, and these schools are generating so much money. Why would they tell you about a job like Don said, right? Oh, I could find a job where I don't need to use my college education and I'm getting $100,000, and that's really $100,000 because I don't have to deduct my student loans from that, right? Why would I tell you about a job like that if I could make, $1,000 off of you per month for you paying for this education to find a job and paying you $100,000, right? You know, there's so many systems before taxes. There's so many systems that come into play that we're just cogs in the watch at that point, man. Like, oh, let me go to school, because JoJo, you said it. I didn't even know I had an option to go outside of there, because the system's just telling you, go ahead, go to school, become that better employee. Don't have to do X, Y, and Z, but I want my cut. When you're done, I want my cut. So
I think that elitism, though, it's like, it was always the craziest thing, because I didn't talk bad about HBCUs. I just didn't attend one. You know, like, especially like kicking it with the bros at Morgan State, the bros at Coppin, right? Cheney, like Lincoln, we were all cool, so it don't even matter. But it wasn't until we got HBCU graduates in our master's programs, right? And like, oh, you didn't go to HBCU, this, that, and next. I'm like, where's this coming from? Right? Because now you're at Penn State. So like, right? Like, I didn't go to your house, you came to my house. So I don't understand like this level of, you know, acting like you had the secret. But then again, it kind of opposite Don and JoJo, like my school's all black. You know, like, so all black, co-ed. So I already had militant family, like, so I already had those experiences. And I think, like Don said, it's up to the individual, but it's like, I'd never had that type of angst for somebody. Like, oh, you went to HBCU? Like, that's dope. Good for you. You know, like, that's just what it was. I didn't understand where the angst came from.
Yeah, I feel like not necessarily, you know, the attack, right? But you run into this all the time from, you know, black people who, you know, went to HBCUs, and then it's like, when you tell them you didn't, it's like they got this side eye, right? It's, you know, I swear, like, sometimes, you know, and when I say we, you know, black people, like, sometimes we're our own, you know, worst enemy, right? Like, we actually, you know, tear ourselves down more, you know, than anybody else. And I'm not even saying, you know, physically, just like, we're always in competition with each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of genuinely just like supporting black people, like I like to see black people do well. Like, it doesn't, I don't know. I'm just all about the culture, you know, whether it's, you know, sports or, you know, starting your own restaurant or whatever. Like, I genuinely want to see black people do well, and whatever your path is, like, as long as it's, you know, legal, I'm not going to knock that.
Right.
We're so used to being at the bottom, though. That's why I think we're always competing. You know what I mean? Yeah. We feel as though we can't have 2 or 3 black people up there with us. But with people, like with going back to Don's point, with black people looking at you, well, you not looking at you, but you feel as though, or it's insinuated that they're looking at you because you didn't go to an HBCU. It is a sense of pride. It's hard to describe, but they do have a sense of pride in HBCU. You dig what I'm saying? Like, even the cats that I befriended at Virginia Union, and of course not 2020, but prior to 2020, when they went to homecoming, like, damn, yo, that shit looked lit. You dig what I'm saying? Like, yo, I wish I could go. I mean, I probably could go back, but because I left my freshman year, there are a lot of things that I missed. So I would be, you know, catching up. I wouldn't know probably as many people if I would have, as if I would have stayed. You dig what I'm saying? Because I've been to a Penn State homecoming. It's not half as lit as an HBCU's homecoming.
That might be a cultural difference too.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm saying. It's a cultural difference.
And I'll let you go too, Don, but give me 1 second. They got that sense of pride, right? But where is it at monetarily? Right? Like, getting back to the school, they'll wear the shirts but then you always see like them in flux, and that might be systematic too. So, because I don't know, because I didn't go, right? So I really don't know. But it's like, you know, we had one of the guys in Harrisburg, right? He was so proud of his alma mater, but like, and he had a nice car and nice suits, and then you hear his alma mater's in financial trouble. It's like, where are the rest of the people that they made, right? If they make this elite product consistently, and you're so much better, right? Out of your mouth, not mine, right? And I want you to be. It doesn't matter to me. You know, you're not taking food on my plate. Why don't you give back to that source at the rate at which you brag about that source?
So it's all a facade, though. Not to cut you off, Joe. It's all a facade. Like Don just said, they just saying that, oh, because I went to an HB, I'm better, or no, you're not better. It's just y'all, in this situation, y'all all have something in common. Y'all all went to this school or an HBCU. It's just like with Greek life, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the Kappas aren't better than the Alphas. The Alphas aren't better than the Sigmas. You know what I mean? It's just that's the organization you belong to.
Mm-hmm.
At that moment, whoever's in control, that's the higher being. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like these cats going to HBCUs, they don't have anything. A lot of them, and PWIs too, they don't have anything going for themselves.
Right.
But it's a lot of power if you live on a block and most of the, let's say in Harrisburg, right?
Mm-hmm.
And most of the cats went to Penn State as opposed to everyone that went to Penn State on the block and then the one went to, I don't know what HBCU, or I don't know if there's an HBCU in Pennsylvania. I'm quite sure there is.
Cheney.
Cheney. Okay. Okay, then one went to Cheney, or one went to Lincoln. You see what I'm saying? Like, the people with Cheney and Lincoln, they're not going to feel as competent because they're outnumbered. And I think that's what, like, with black people, not all black people, but black people who went to an HBCU, they have that in common, as opposed to, like, a lot of the Cheney cats, they went to Penn State Harrisburg for grad school. So they always repping Cheney. That's the only thing they have. But I think that little bit of pride that they do have, I think is dope because they do represent to the fullest.
Yeah, and it's weird because my experience is a little different with HBCU alums. It's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
From my experience, I see a lot more pride in people who go to your wider schools.
Really?
I see a lot, not pride, the wrong word. I see a lot more bragging. Not necessarily pride, a lot more elitism from people who go to white schools. And
Cheney be lit, yo. I ain't gonna lie. Cheney be, boy. Lincoln and Cheney.
You what?
I said Lincoln and Cheney. How, you know what I mean? Those cats, because we both went to, Cheney and Lincoln for social events. Yeah. That should be lit. They be proud.
It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. But as far as like the whole like superiority or elite thing, I feel like I get that out of people who mainly go to your Harvards and stuff like that, more so than I get from my experience. Then again, I went to, in Philly, a lot of people really went to Penn State,